Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys.
It's been a great week. We've had a lot of conversations about our last topics. We're going to touch a little bit more on those. But before we jump into that, we've got a few shout outs that we're going to drop. Shout out number one, my buddy Obeda Ben Wally.
Yeah, man.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, awesome. Obeda.
Happy birthday, man.
Haven't talked to you in a little bit. Hope everything's going great. He's got another fight coming up, doesn't he?
He just did it last week.
Oh, he just did it last week? I missed it.
Yeah. They had one. Yeah, I was watching that live stream and stuff. Jeremy was trying to do it.
I feel like a jerk.
It was a good show. Yeah, he did a good job, man. And my shout out is my brother. It's his birthday today as well. So big shout out to my brother. And yeah, the 25th is kind of the way a lot of us do it in our family. So I'm December 25th. Yeah. And my brother is September 25th. His wife is October 25th. And
it's Jermon's birthday today, too.
Yeah, man. Jermon, that's my buddy.
Happy birthday, Jermon.
Jermon's funny. So Jermon still has a Hall of Fame award in my attic that he didn't show up to get. So he still has to get that. So it's pretty funny.
What?
Yeah, he came to every single one of my tournaments except the one that he didn't know I was going to give him a Hall of Fame award. Pretty funny, dude.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he was one of the few people that was on stage every single time that they were at my tournament. So, and I always supported and everything, except that one year, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. Awesome.
Also have one more shout out. And this is not a karate related thing. This is my family. My cousins. Two different cousins just found out they're pregnant. My cousin Kirby, what up, Kirby? She just found out she's pregnant. First time, her and her husband Jake, and my cousin Tori, her and her husband Andrew. They just found out they're having twins.
Wow!
So yeah, first time for both of them.
Yeah.
Not karate related. It's not shameless. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'll say what I want. So
that's right.
Congratulations to you guys.
Congrats, guys. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's recap a little bit. Let's go into what's the one judge topic. So, Jeff, God. You had, I think it's kind of a out there
idea
out there thing. Yeah. As the one judge. But explain it a little bit more. Sell me on the one judge because I ain't sold.
Right. The one judge thing doesn't. So again, I think I said this tonight, and Joe Greenhall kind of said the same thing. You are thinking of it as where we are currently, and I'm thinking of where we need to be or want to be. And the one judge thing right now, with the way that tournaments just kind of get whoever to judge, or get the promoters to judge, or, hey, are you going to come with 20 students? Yeah. Well, you judge for me with your 20 students. Yeah, it will not work that way.
Correct.
But if we want to have some type of judges league and a certified judges system, then right now, most of these tournaments do not have the money or the sponsorship to do that. So the way to do that is, honestly, I'm going to be honest, it can't be something that can start next tournament. It would probably take a year to train these judges correctly and pay them like they have to come in as this is their job. And you have a year to train them and get them ready, and you start that way. Now,
okay, I'm close to being on board with that. But
with the idea of doing this, you get it started. Then we have a year, 2 years, and we look professional. Now, does it make it to where it's perfect? No. But at that point, you actually are able to show that this is our system. This is why this judge did this. This is why this happened, especially for forms. And you can present that to a sponsor. better than, look at this awesome event we had. And that's great because, I mean, you look at like Battle of Atlanta or Diamonds, and a sponsor's like, man, there's a lot of people here. But then they look into it and it's like, there's no organization as far as in the rules. There's no structure on this or that. That's just my opinion right now. We don't have a sponsor that's going to give us $1 million. We don't have a sponsor in most cases to give us $10,000. So what is the best way to start this right now from what we can handle? 20 judges, you know, for 10, let's just say 10 rings. I mean, my turn might need more than that, a lot more than that. But then you can alternate back and forth throughout the day, whether or not tired. And they're
okay.
trained.
Now, at that point, though, really,
Yeah.
when we're talking about the highest level, we're talking about the professional part. We're really talking about the high level black belt competition.
Right.
Does it really matter? I mean, it matters because it's a competition, but for the topic that we're having, does it matter what the 10-year-old blue belts are doing? Does that matter?
Yes, because that's where your money comes from.
Well, no. I agree with that, but I mean, with this, are you wanting the one judge system for them too?
Well, I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Why
so
not?
Like there.
Yeah, but why not? Because honestly, there's tournaments that have like 100 first timers, right? Correct. You only need one judge for a first timer division. Get them excited about it. Get them pumped up. You know, that's all you really need. Get them because so if that judge is good at what they're doing,
all right,
and getting people pumped up, then guess what? We have 100 new people excited about our sport. If you're going to
here's where I agree
differently,
and here's where I disagree.
Yeah.
I agree. Everybody needs to be trained the same. So like you asked me this last week. You asked me like, "Hey, you're a good judge. You could judge a whole division." Correct. However, if I was to judge an NBL tournament, I would not be a good judge for that because I don't know the intricacies of the rules and the regulations, because there's certain regulations I may not be up to date with, and all the details of that. So I would not be a good judge for that.
Correct.
So everybody needs to be trained the exact same way in basically the same time. So like when we have other professional sports leagues and systems, they are all trained the same time. So let's take a forum, for example. So they need to understand why this should get a better score than this, why this should get a better score than that. So that's why when the average person watches an ice skating division, we as the viewer can look at that. We don't even know how to ice skate. Okay, no, I know how to ice skate, but
I don't do that stuff, man.
Yeah, you can't leave Minnesota unless you know how to ice skate. you learn how to do that when you're 2. But anyway, that's not an exaggeration actually. But we as viewers, we watch that and they tell us like the television broadcast tells us like, oh, they'll get docked X and X because of this, and if they do this, triple holiday hoobity buddy, all right, they're gonna get a better score than if they did this. Like we can have that explained to us and we can know. So there's a regulation, there's a detailed system as to how. But if we just look at this and go, well, I think this form is better. Why? I think so. Well, who the heck cares what you think? There needs to be a reason why. So that's where I agree with you. Here's where I really don't agree with you.
Yeah.
If you have the one judge system, the judge is the most important person in the tournament. They're more important than anybody there. All right. So the judge has way too much power. They can control it and wield it. Even if it's right and just, it'll never be portrayed like it's fair because they're the one decision maker. So I love the NBA. I don't know if you watch a lot of NBA or follow it, but do you know who James Harden is?
Yes.
Okay, James Harden is not that good. I don't care who's a James Harden fan. If someone's a James Harden fan and you want to tell me, oh, no, he's the greatest. No, he's not. He's not that good. And I'm going to explain why. James Harden, for the last 4 years, has led the league in fouls against him. And this is not, it sounds like an exaggeration, but I think between him and the next person, whoever's in second, he leads them by like over 400 to 500 fouls called against him. So is everybody just targeting James Harden and punching him in the arms? No, that's not true. They're guarding him just like they would guard anybody else who's a really good player. But the refs have already made the decision that if you get near him, you're going to get a foul called against him. So here are your options if you're guarding James Harden, all right? And this is very applicable to what we're doing in martial arts.
Okay.
So your options if you're guarding James Harden are guard him like you are supposed to anybody else. But James Harden is likely going to get a foul called. And you're going to get it. Now you're in foul trouble, and you probably have to go sit back down on the bench, and they're going to have somebody else who's probably not as good guarding him. And now they can't guard him the same way because they're going to get a foul called. So now you have to give him more space. So now you've given him more space. So now he's not. So now he has an open shot almost every time. So all he has to do is be able to hit an open shot, be able to hit free throws. And he just became the league's leading scorer. That's all he had to do. Because the refs have already made the decision that if you get close to him, they're going to call a foul. So now you as the defender have to make a decision. Am I going to get fouled out of the game? Or am I going to give him an open shot? You don't have option B. There is no option B. So, with martial arts.
Right.
You get the judge can just they can wield their power, and because it's their own decision and they're saying no, I really did think this trick was better. I thought this trick was cleaner, so they're better. They have too much power with that. If it's the I think and you go with no, I looked at their tricks and I thought this one was cleaner, even though it wasn't. What are you going to say? You can't say anything different. Right. So now the judge has way too much power. They're the most important person.
But that already happens now.
But now, even though we say,
so no offense,
even though we say, all right, the bad
Caitlin
judge
was the cleanest competitor there was, but she did not have the difficulty that half of the girls had. So should she have won all the time? I don't think so.
Well, now
was she a pro? Was she a
two
champion?
things can be true. Though.
Yes. So I mean, I'm just saying. So that was already happening right now. So it doesn't mean I devalue her as a competitor. I think she's awesome. But
no, I think she's one of the best.
But there were so many other ones that had as much, just, maybe not as strong as her. And she had the length, that other girls didn't have with her arms, And even though I always hated the no sleeve stuff, I don't know. It's just not my thing. But it worked for her because her arms were so long. Never do it. Yeah, but her arms are so long, it worked for her. So, yeah, you didn't. There's a picture. There's a picture of you. Yeah, you put it.
I did it a couple times actually.
Yeah,
so I take that back.
Screw that. No, but
you know why I like it though? I like it because it's not the same. Oh, wear a white uniform, wear a black uniform.
No, I agree with that.
That's why I like that. But
go ahead.
So what I said, two things can be true. So I think the judges can balance each other out. Because I can look at Caitlin's form and say, well, I didn't think Caitlin's form was that good. But the other guys next to me can go, with your high, her form was the best. I might be giving her a third place. And then that kind of equals itself out.
Yeah, what I'm saying though is
right on with everybody else.
But all right, so as much as power as people think one judge would have, they'd also not, because they're also all the eyes are on them. And so if they mess up and there does look like anything is off, guess what? They're out. They're moved to another ring. Do you know how long
that would take? That would take forever. We'd never actually do that. There's no way that could happen.
Because there would be a legit system that would happen. I mean, that's just the way. This is what I'm saying. This isn't like how we have it now.
It's okay that it's subjective, though. It's okay that it's subjective.
No, I agree.
Baseball is subjective.
So right.
This can be subjective.
I'm not saying there's no issue on that. I'm just saying that if it tends that, okay, I mean, I'm okay with switching the judge back and forth every two divisions. You have 2 in each ring and back and forth. I mean, that way it can't just always be, now it can't be the same age group and this and that. I think there needs to be some flexibility on that.
Now, I think shuffling the judges around where, all right, this tournament,
right,
you're the U.S. Open, you're judging the 14, 15-year-old girls division. Next tournament, you're judging, I don't know,
right,
12, 13
right.
boys. I don't know, whatever.
Honestly, even
I'm okay with that. Actually, is not a bad idea.
It's a little complicated with timing, but even if you have them do, say, 14 to 15 girls traditional, like in the same ring,
And
and
just
then
switch them.
they flip that, so that way they're not getting the same person the whole time. There are ways to do this. It's not as complicated as, I mean, you could do this with our system we have now. Just move the judges each time. Keep the scorekeepers in place, but move the judges the rings. That way there's a different view, because half of these people they're getting judged by the same 3 judges for 6
all
or 7
season.
forms. Yeah, but 6, and yeah, you're right. A lot of people judge
all
the same
season.
division every time, not just the whole tournament, but all season. So there's a lot of things that this little conversation is bringing to light. Little steps are what it's gonna be, but we are gonna have to make one big step. That's gonna be something where people are not gonna like. Doesn't mean it has to be one
but
judge.
See, that just sounds so
get
flawed. Why intentionally make a move that you know is going to drive people away?
But all right, drive. I don't think it's going to drive people away. It's
all
change.
It is perception.
Wrong.
Think of all
it's
the things
change.
that we talked about with
change
perception.
is crazy. Do you know? All right. So there's studies and that people react to change the same way they act to torture. Okay. Do you know that?
I've heard it.
That's yeah. Okay. So it's the truth. That's just the way it is. Okay. It doesn't mean that because change happened that it was bad and everyone's ran away. Half of those people are still there. Half of the rule changes that happen, people don't like. People, those competitors are still there. Some of them left, went to something else, but then they came back. I don't think it's, I don't think it's that you're doing it just to get rid of people. That's not what I'm saying. But when you want to take that step to be at a professional level and have TV or whatever, there are changes with TV. There are changes with, whatever. That's just what happens.
So
we can move on to the next topic.
We'll move on to the next topic. So we agree that I'm right.
No.
But speaking of TV, I heard something. Tell me if you've heard this. But I heard that ESPN is going to pick up a couple other tournaments.
I heard that I heard that 2 years ago.
Yeah, I heard that it's going to happen next year.
So what I heard was that was the whole point of the World Tour thing, the Open World Tour, was to get all of them, and that's why all of them had the same sets and background and everything.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah,
so
I'm not so sure if the world. I think it's about the World Tour, and I'm not so sure if the World Tour is going to take off. But I think that's what it was all about. It was all about. I think it's going to be ESPN that's going to pick it all up.
So who would it be? Well, here's the other thing. The other tournament that is, Comcast had AmeriKick, so that was cool too. Good job to them for doing that. But I mean, who else would it be?
Well, I heard that there was 4 tournaments. That there was U.S. Open. And then now I'm just hearing from someone who's hearing, Yeah. So I figured I'd tell you because you know everything. So there you go.
I don't know nothing.
So compete. DC, Capital Classic, and Battle of Atlanta.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. It's just
because I heard just from geographically, just like where they're placed.
Okay.
They wanted one on the West Coast, get some West Coast viewers.
Yeah.
And then same thing spread around.
Yeah. But again, 2 of these are not like the other. That's just my opinion. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, what are you going to do though? So that's the thing though. But if you would, all right, if you were going to have, ESPN view a tournament,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what else would you do? You're going to have to.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what you're going to get when you go to a tournament. You could
No.
You could go to a tournament and then it's just you've been there plenty of times where the finals have been boring.
Right. Correct.
And it's not the tournament's fault sometimes. Sometimes it's just the performances weren't that great.
Right. Well, and some of it. All right. I'll get into a little pet peeve of mine. It's a combo of both. There's tournaments that do too much, and there's too much in between time, right? And it prolongs things. Then there's tournaments that just run you like cattle. They just push.
I hate that.
And that's, to me, just as bad as tournaments that run too long. Everyone's all, now what's funny is like, man, it's like the big thing to get a tournament done by 1:00, which I understand that's great. But didn't you go to a karate tournament to enjoy a karate tournament, to like watch competition and be involved? Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I think that, yes, it needs to run smooth, but not just push them to where, it's like, I came here to watch karate, man. Like,
and I'm over in the corner while the rest of the tournament's happening over here.
Right.
I'm no longer having the same kind of fun. Like, I'll tell you this. When Sport Martial Arts first started doing the live stream, I think it was 2015, all right? When they started doing the live stream. So, and I don't even think it was Facebook Live. I think it was just YouTube, okay? So
yeah, but they weren't the first ones to do live stream.
No. When Sport Martial Arts first started doing it, not that who was the first. So when they did it, it was AKA, and so Emily Cooper smartly said, "Okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to control how this is going to be viewed." So she actually was the coordinator. Very smart. Claps for Emily.
No, that makes sense.
You killed it.
Yeah.
And what she did is she just set it up. She goes, "Okay, we're going to run it super light all the way to heavy." So everybody could see how many people were in each bracket. Everybody could tell, okay, I'm a middleweight. I see how many people are there. I don't need to stand here the entire time.
Right.
I don't need to be waiting. And it was fine. You could watch the divisions. You got a chance to see the karate tournament, and nobody was late. Nobody was upset that it did take a little bit of time. Nobody was upset with that.
All men's fight.
You knew,
because
you knew when you were going to go. It was proper expectations.
Right.
But what people get upset about is when you overpromise and underdeliver. When you say, "Hurry up, your division starts at noon,"
and then nothing happens.
But you don't start till 3:30.
Right.
People are mad. But if you told them, "Hey, we're going to start the divisions at noon, and we're going to start from super light, we're going to go to heavyweight, and you're a heavyweight," you understand, okay, there's a high probability I don't finish till 3. Now that's okay because you have a proper expectation. Right. You're not waiting to go at 12:45.
Right. You know what people's comment will be to you about that, right?
What?
That's why they have event tax.
Oh, yeah, because it works all the time, right? Yeah, because it works all the time. So then how does it happen? No, we're going to go right into that because I still detest it. Okay, so what happens when there's two people from the same school, they get matched up first match?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's say this, okay? You got Grand Slam martial arts, okay? What is that? Now, someone registers that they're from Grand Slam martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can just enter in their own school. They might just put in GS martial arts.
Yeah, and it's different. Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's different.
Yeah.
Or someone just puts in Grand Slam. Or someone puts in Grand Slam martial arts and then puts an address. Someone puts in Grand Slam martial arts, but then just puts the state. You could have 10 people in the same division, and all of them would be registered from different schools. And you know what Uventex's solution to that is? They say, "Customer, your fault." No, it's not their fault. It's a faulty system. It's sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a hater. That That's a faulty system. There's a problem there. So no, that doesn't help. Juventex doesn't help that. Juventex actually makes that take even longer.
Yeah.
So the division that would have ended at 3 now ends at 5:30.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, Juventex. Now you got an hour before the finals start. You feel good about that?
Oh man. Excuse me. Well, yeah. Anyways, so, team fighting. Let's get into
let's get into the team fighting rules. So this is what we said we wanted to get into.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. There's been so many different rules for the team fighting
for years.
Get in. Yeah. And it's constantly and continually changing. Yeah. And there's been some that I've hated. There's been some. There's some that I really, really like and enjoy.
Go with the ones that you enjoy. Go ahead with the ones you enjoy.
Okay, I'll tell you what of all the team fighting that I've personally experienced, what I like the best, and this sounds strange, is a 4-man team fight.
Right. Yeah. That's fun.
And by wins, not points.
Oh. How do they, where was this at?
I first experienced it at the Irish Open. And it was 4-man team fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You do it by wins, not points. So then, if you go, well, we got 2 wins, you got 2 wins. Okay. Overtime round. Done. Yeah. So, and then you're right back into what it would be for 5-man. The problem with 5-man is there's so few teams that can actually do that.
Yeah.
That's agreed. Why I like when teams would do the 4-man, 1-woman, who can really feel, there's very few teams that can field that.
3 men, 1 woman to me work better.
But even then, the 3-man team fighting, we got the best because of the amount of people that entered. You always pickup teams happened all the time. I've been a part of them often. Yeah. Right? People have asked me to do it. I've asked other people to do it. Right. It just happens. And you know what? When you look at it, if there's a stacked team, like let's say the All-Stars are there. Let's say it was, say you got 2 Paul Mitchell teams there. Let's say, and et cetera, you're just going on and on and on. So you got an Impacts, et cetera. If you're creating a pickup team with all those teams there, you're doing it so you can participate and so you can have a chance. Like, can you make it? Can you win? Right? And that's good. And there's been some pickup teams. There's been some pickup teams that have won.
Right.
One of the pickup teams that surprised me the most, this was 2014 U.S. Open. 2014 U.S. Open. Ross Cook teams up with Jim Haymore, Joshua Smith, and Jamie Cravens. And it's like, hey, let's just go out there and let's just enter. And they just start beating people. I didn't really know who Jim Haymore was, right? And they lost. They should have went to the final. They really should have went to the final against the All-Stars. They should have beat Paul Mitchell. Jim Haymore was putting the whoop on Zolt. He hit him with 2 spin kicks that didn't get called, and one from either side too.
That's awesome.
That was pretty.
That's
dope.
a mafia thing, man.
And then Ross was on fire. He was killing it. He brought him back. It was great. They really got some poor calls there, and they should have been in the final against the All-Stars. That was a pickup team that was great.
That's awesome.
But some of the team fighting rules that I've really hated. I didn't necessarily hate it that much, but it handcuffed you so much when you did the first 2 matches. First to 5.
I was talking about. Yeah, first to 5, and after that,
And then it was, like 90 seconds as much as you can score but prior to that.
Yeah, that's right. It was always 90 seconds. That's right.
Right, but prior to that, it was always 2 minutes, all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Total points for every round.
Right. Do they still do 90-second rounds?
Still 90-second rounds.
Okay. That's something. Yeah, the NBL was always 2 minutes.
It should be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's always. Yeah. It should be 2 minutes, because everything else that we do is 2 minutes.
Right. Agreed. Yeah,
Why
that's
are we
why I
doing?
like that.
Why are we doing 90 seconds?
Right.
It
Correct.
doesn't make sense. It's
No.
not fair.
No. No.
But I'll tell
I
you.
don't go.
Go ahead. No. You go. I kind of monopolized.
I was saying, all right. There's a couple different ones that I like and I don't like. I don't really like the doing it by weight class in NBL. I never really liked that, and that started a whole controversy that I was a part of. So, well, I was there for it. So, there was some tournaments throughout the year that would not do that. Would just do pickup. The coach's choice, right? Then, but the rule was that you went by weight class, right? Just lowest to highest. That was just the rule.
Right.
And then at Super Grands, they did it based on the rule. And CJB protested about it because they said all year long we did it this way. And at that point, when I was under that, I agreed. I was like, yeah, this is crap, blah, blah. We bowed out. Then next thing you know, the second place team bowed out too, saying the same thing. And it became this crazy kind of battle. So third place team ended up winning the world title that year. That was awful. But
that is interesting.
Yes. But looking back at it and learning the other side was that the promoters weren't following the rules and were doing their own thing.
Yeah, but it's not the competitors' fault.
But exactly, it's not the competitors' fault. So that just puts the bind on the league when it's like, oh, well, these are the rules. I can look at it both ways. I think that there should have been something said at the first tournament that was done at, to where it didn't happen anymore. But it's just so it's tough to figure that whole thing out.
Well, I'll tell you this. That's that from the NBL side. What every year, every single year, NASCA has a new adjustment to the team fighting rules.
Team rules every time.
And the heck for?
Right.
And so here, then I'm gonna get in. So one of the ones I hate the most was when they started treating team fights like super fight rules.
Yeah.
They would give you a point if you knock the person down or if you knock the person out.
Yeah.
So I remember NK fighting at the Diamonds. We're fighting straight up. And we're down. NK's down. I think we were down. I was fighting the anchor against Richard Steckham.
Mm-hmm.
And we were down like 3 or 4 points. And I never fought him. I knew he was good.
Yeah.
We're fighting. And I didn't score on Richard, but we won.
Right.
And it wasn't like I'm trying to score.
Yeah.
He just kept moving away and kept falling or kept running out and I just was getting the points. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, he's small.
So probably the right thing should have been to do would be to just stop the time and let us go, because neither one of us scored on each other, yet I won.
Yeah.
It was strange. It was really strange.
Right.
So I hated that. But that was at the time though also where Paul Mitchell has always had an extreme influence on whatever the rules are for whatever it is that something's doing. So they had the largest lineup. Travis was on the team. Elias was on the team. Damon was on the team right there. That's like three heavyweights or light heavyweights. Greg Betlock. Who else was on? DeAndre Walker, Alex Lane, right? Greg was the shortest one of the group. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. You get, a few, and then at the time, I think like Straight Up was putting out 3 lightweights every single time.
Right.
So I hated that rule because sometimes you'd have it where they're up against like a pole or a wall and they'd say, oh yeah, well that's another point. But it's not fair.
No. Yeah. I didn't like that. I didn't like that rule. When I saw that, it's just like, they just really don't like lightweights. That's really the way I took it. They really don't like lightweights.
I talked to a promoter one time
Yeah.
about, speaking of lightweights. I was literally having this exact same conversation today. I was talking to a promoter one time about lightweights. And he says to me, he says, Alex, I mean, really, super lightweights, they just don't win anyway. I'm like, what?
Oh,
they're like,
man.
really think about it. I mean, like maybe a lighter weight person could win, but super lightweights, they never win the overall. I'm like, see, that is messed up. Well, now they're not going to, now that you've just decided.
Yeah, decided. Yeah. See, that's an issue. I can't stand. I just always thought it was cool when I'd see like certain tournaments where like the super heavyweight went against the super lightweight. That was cool for the grand and stuff. Just interesting. I mean, it just makes our sport better.
Yeah, we're going to get into that more too.
You don't see that in other sports. All right. What about the world leagues and like the country versus country type thing? So when I went to WKA in 2001, what was funny about teams there was that you didn't know the team lineup until like the day after point fighting, like what do you call it, like the qualifying rounds or whatever, right?
Okay.
So what they did was they picked a weight class. So they picked like, I don't remember if it was 3 or if it was 5, but they picked a weight class. And I know they did this for juniors. They did the weight class. And I think they did the same for the adults. They picked the weight class, and then you had to put whoever you had in those. And so I remember this because I think for USA, I beat all my team to get there in qualifying, right? But then I lost first round to the guy who won it from Canada, Danny Pierce, great fighter. And then they won their next 2 rounds. And so the coach was mad at me because I lost, and they got picked to go into that instead of me. So the coach got the choice to do that, right? Whoever they wanted on that weight class. They didn't just pick their junior team or whatever it was. It was randomized. And then they picked from there. So, and we got killed. USA got killed. But Canada won.
I know that WKC does it by wins as well. They do 5-man. And I know they do it by wins. And they do it random as well.
I think WKA was by wins at that time. Not total points. Waco's changed a bunch as well, haven't they? Because they used to do wins and now they do points.
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
So
I think it
is. Can't.
It is by points because I remember watching the junior one where Bailey came back by like 10 points or something to win.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before I saw him fight as an adult. And I was watching him fight as a junior, and I'm like, well, how good is he really?
Yeah.
And I watched him, and I'm like, no, dude's the real deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So the other things that I hope, these are all things that I hope die forever, are when you had to declare who the alternate is.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that when they did that.
Declare who the alternate is. So if you have a lineup of 3 people, and I have a lineup of 3 people, and your alternate is out there, now, and if I know who your alternate is, I know that person is not fighting. Yeah. They're not fighting at all in this round. They're done.
Right.
They're not.
Yeah.
Because the only reason they would fight is if you made it into the next round.
Right.
Then they could come in.
Yeah.
But if you declare who that person is, they're not fighting, which is very unfair.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. And then Akin Williams, slick dude. He's smart. You're very slick. He pulled that on Hayabusa one time. And Terry Kramer kept saying, no. You got to tell us who your alternate is. And I kept telling Terry Kramer to kick rocks, and he kept coming back. So finally, it's like Conrad told him, and then he looked right at the alternate and said, "You're not fighting." And I'm like, there he goes. It's over. Because he didn't have an alternate. He only had 3 guys. Right.
That's funny.
So he was able to dictate it that way. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So but the worst one of all was when you said, okay, you have to win by 2. That
Yeah.
should
No.
never be the case.
Never. No.
Should never be the case.
That's the
Whether
worst
it's
to me.
for a individual division, whether it's for first place, a runoff, overall, it should never be the case.
Can't
However,
stand that.
if you, what other game or
you gotta
sport
win
do
by
we
2.
have where you have a time limit, a finite amount of time, and whoever has the most points within that time is not the winner?
Right. There you go.
Like, we have 2 minutes. I scored more points than you within the 2 minutes. But I'm not. Like, where does that exist?
Yeah.
It exists nowhere else in the world.
Right.
And then, but the reason people like it is because they think, oh, there's going to be the drama, the back and forth. The problem is it's such a hard division to officiate and judge because it's so intense. It's so dramatic. It's moving back and forth. So as the judge, you know what the judge is looking for? The judge is looking for the other team to come back, because that's the whole reason we're even doing that. You're not doing that to go, oh, they just need one more point, because the seed has been planted that, oh, they could come back. That's why we're doing this.
Right.
And that's why I don't like in NBL, I don't like stopping the clock in the last 30 seconds, because that's the same reason why we're doing that. So in the last 30 seconds, if someone is up by 4, the reason we're stopping the clock is so just in case this other person comes back. Right. So when there's close calls, guess which way they're going.
It's not fair. That and when there's center judges that are slow as crap, and that's one of the reasons why. And NASCAR, to me, I would watch NASCAR, and the fights would really be like a minute and 10 seconds for a while, because they were just let so much time go and go and go. And so
you mean like the judges?
The center, yeah, we're just letting time go and this and that, and without calling time. And you do a traditional Kumite tournament, it's 2 minutes stopping time, like actual fighting time. They stop the clock at every clash. It's a long fight, but it's intense. I mean, that's just the way that it is. So, but I mean, I just don't like when center judges determine, like, we came to let me get my 2 full minutes. That's just my argument. Let me get my 2 full minutes. But
so I got a story about that. So this happened. AKA wasn't the tournament's fault.
Yeah.
It was the operator's fault. It was a women's division. Okay. And I'm standing by. Actually, I didn't. Okay. Here's what happened. So the first match happens, and it seems short. The next match happens, and it's like, wow, that seems short. Ask the center referee, hey, are you sure this is 2 minutes? Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I trust the scorekeepers. I'm not even going to ask them. They're set. Time. Oh, sure enough, 90 seconds. Yep. No. I just timed it. Go ask the scorekeeper. Hey, how long has this been going? Oh, 90 seconds.
Yep. That's why you can't change the rules.
You know what you have to do? So here's what you have to do. You have to go back and redo the whole thing. However, if you were the person who won,
yeah, you're pissed.
Would you say, yeah, let's go back and do it again?
Probably
I say, heck no.
No.
I won. Jump in a lake.
Right.
I'm not redoing that again. I won. Now you're freaking stuck. All right?
Yep.
Here was the end result. Here was the decision. Okay? It's not fair, no matter what way you dice it. Because the rules are 2 minutes. That's what everybody's trained for. That's what everybody's prepared for. That's what you were promised. Right? So the rules were, going into the final match, there's only one match left of the division. Well, let's give this last match 90 seconds. Then it will be fair, because everybody's had 90 seconds. Still not fair. No matter what way you do it. You could say, if everybody had 30 seconds.
But not fair.
Well, let's give them 30 seconds. That's fair. No, it's not. Just because you say, it's fair, doesn't make it fair.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So what is your favorite?
I don't like that.
If you could, Jeff Doss could say, all right, here's how I'm going to set up team fighting. Yeah. What would you do?
All right, so there's 2 things that I want to touch on. we'll go into what it would be my favorite for like a 3-man team, right?
Yeah.
I like the choice, like making it strategy. I really do like that. I like the strategy part of it, of picking and doing the coin flip. And I think it needs to be 2 minutes, and it needs to be point fighting. It needs to be the same as what you do during the day, but team version of it. And then I just added one more. So 3 now. All right. One that I think would be really cool that I really enjoyed watching and being part of was continuous teams. I would love to see that as like a set fight type thing. It was really cool. We did country versus country at Quebec City in 2001, and it was Canada versus USA versus Guatemala versus Venezuela. And man, we had that place rocking. It was awesome. First time I think I saw Yoksar compete. Uh, Lots of first time I saw Sam compete. He, uh,
Sam Gagnon.
Yeah, he fought
It was
Trevor.
good.
It was Trevor, Jason, and Freddie doing continuous. It was awesome. That was exciting. I think maybe to the point fighting audience, it's not as exciting, but to the outside, it is. When you add that country versus country thing, that team element to it, it makes it fun.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
One team fighting thing that I think was really cool that didn't catch on. It was real inconsistent depending on where we went. Was NBL's mixed team, and what that was is one 18 plus male, one 18 plus female, and one 35 plus male. So instead of having to field a whole team of senior men that maybe you couldn't find, or a whole team of women, or a whole team of men, you did this extra division of one of each, right? And it was pretty
Right.
cool because you just got some different ones, and it got people really excited. The only problem was that when Regina turned 35, and no one wanted to compete against her because whatever team she was on, she was going to win. So that was just kind of the way it was. So, but the concept was cool to me. I really thought that was great. And I think even when you have it set with like something like that, it should still be something where you could choose the order. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you don't have to be set on the order, because that's one of the things that we have with that as well. One little thing too, junior teams. What age groups do you like the most for junior teams?
I liked it a number of different ways. I think one of the ways that was really fair was 15 to 17, 12 to 14, 11 and under.
Yeah, that's the way that it's done in the NBL. Yeah.
However, NASCA stopped doing it like that because nobody could find an 11 and an under fighter.
But that makes no sense to me. Like, that's always one of the bigger divisions. That makes no sense.
But they don't want it. But when they're 11, when they're 10 years old, they just want to go do their division. They get 10-year-olds get overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, the problem is because NASCA never really had a junior team like title. There was never a junior team world title. I don't even know if there really is now.
There is now.
Because
it's next level every single year.
Yeah, but it used to be there were only like 5 tournaments that had junior teams.
Right.
And then even to like 4 years ago, it was still mixed between boys and girls NBL's always had a girls team, a boys team, and you knew that there was a championship at the end.
And the girls teams, they're 2-person also.
Oh, in NASCA?
Yeah, but it's almost, I kind of don't like that one because it's 2 girls, 14 to 17.
Yeah.
So you know what that means?
Yeah.
They're 2 17-year-olds.
2 17-year-olds. Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when we were coming up, we were one of the only junior teams that would have a junior team at all the tournaments. New York, Empire States always had junior teams. Bluegrass had junior teams.
Because they were all pickup teams. They were all school teams.
And that was about it. Yeah, except Team Elite, it wasn't.
Right, right. So outside of your team.
We had
outside
a legit
of your
one.
team.
The other one, Boston Taekwondo, had a really good team.
Right, that's also a school team, right?
Yeah, so it was
So what tournament has a bunch of those?
You mean a bunch of school teams? Yeah, the
Yeah,
Diamonds.
it's the Diamonds. That's
right.
it. Because there's
Right.
316 NK teams.
Right.
And
Yeah.
mine was the best. Sorry, Crystal. We beat you.
That's fun.
Yeah, D. Everett from Crystal, Minnesota, has got a really good team. That's Katana's mom. Katana's mom.
Right.
She's got her name's Dee. Dee's got a good school in Crystal, Minnesota, and so she does that.
That's awesome.
So she's always got a good pipeline going. I've been pretty impressed with that. So before we get off the team fighting rules topic, I'll tell you a story about one of the rules that blew up everything. So it was the 2005 U.S. Open. So Hamid Feruzzi had just joined that tournament, WKF. Okay.
Right.
Straight up, just for the day, picked up Jack Felton.
Right.
So it was Jotty, Joey, Greenhaw, and Jack Felton. Let's see. Paul Mitchell. They were like the only one that was fine. So yeah, it was interesting. Now NK, we picked up BT Webb.
Right.
Because BJ tore his ACL in like the strangest way. Like he was walking up the stairs and his ACL snapped. Weird, right?
Weird.
I know. It's extremely weird. So we're fighting with BT Webb. It was just Greg Betlock and I fight with BT Webb. So of the 4 teams that were there, Paul Mitchell was the only one that really already had it, because I think Dojo and Pro Rank, they joined together too. So it was everything was messed up. Paul Mitchell, like I said, had influence on changing the rules. So Steve Babcock jumps in and says, I'm protesting. And we're all like, what are you protesting? You're just protesting the fact that these teams have fighters that you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine to be on the teams. You just don't like it because you see what's about to happen. You're about to get beat, which they did. Right? So, Larry Carnahan on the spot changes a rule in the middle of the season. I hate that. What other sport could you do that? Could you change the rules?
I hate that
in the middle of the season. So here's what he says. It says, if you change teams, you can't fight team fights
with that team
for anybody other than the team you were just on for 2 tournaments.
Right. I hated that. This is the dumbest thing.
Dumb. Yeah. Right? And why? So Paul Mitchell couldn't do it. So what do they do at one point? They pick up Greg Betlock later on, right? And so now I'm like, homie, why do this? Just wait one more turn. Just wait till after the Diamonds. Just wait, then go. Right? Yeah. You're not even gonna be able to fight team fights for him anyway because the rule is there.
Yeah.
Whatever. He did it. Okay. Thumbs up. He's on his team, and he was there for like a decade. Right. Thumbs up. He had a great time. Okay. But yeah, that was interesting.
So like in NBL, it was always for you to get points and like a seed with that team, it had to be at least 2 of the same people, right? But it didn't say like you can't fight with these people this turn to win the money, or you can't fight with them again. No,
you just can't use that seed.
Yeah, right. Which to me makes more sense, right? And it just
I actually like
goes
that.
on, that way, because sometimes it just doesn't happen. Okay.
Because I actually did that. I did that that same year, the end of the year. AKA was in October. I'm fighting with Ross Levine and I believe it was Bernard Paquette. All right.
Okay.
And now the tournament before, I dislocated my elbow. So nobody really knew this. I knew I was not good. Like you couldn't even touch my hand, and my arm felt like it was about to explode. Right. So I just was like, I'm just gonna kick the whole time. Nobody's gonna think anything's different anyway, because I'm Alex frickin' Dingman. What the heck else did they think was gonna happen? Right? So I'm doing axe kicks when people are like right next to my face, just all sorts of weird stuff. But it was working. It was landing.
Right.
So yeah, we we're a team NK with me, Ross Levine, and Bernard Paquette.
Nice.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
quite sure it should have went like that.
But oh well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Any other team fighting things? I mean, I'm sure we can get into team
I mean,
fighting, more team fighting stuff.
there's
But
all sorts of stories, but I'm sure
yeah.
we'll get into those like
Oh
another
yeah.
time. Let's jump right into
Competitor.
competitors of the week.
I'll go first then.
Sure.
I always wait, so I'll go first this time.
Yeah. Go for it.
So mine this week is Chad Cannon. So Chad Cannon of Team Gypsy, great guy, great fighter, amazing
Great team.
person, great forms competitor. Yes, great
true.
team. When I first saw Chad Cannon, saw him on the NBL circuit, he was part of Team GOP, and he was an awesome fighter, but he was an even more like awesome forms competitor because
Really?
he jumped so freaking high. Okay, he was the first person that people started calling like the next Jason Tanks. Beyond that's what people did because he jumped as high as
Because he would
Jason,
jump like Jason would do his jump
did the
front
jump
kick.
front kick, and he could go back and forth and do every division just like Jason. He got more into fighting as he got older, but then he's kind of fell back into the forms even more.
He's back into doing it now.
Yeah, he won this last weekend, the overall grands at the tournament in North Carolina.
Wow.
One of the coolest things I ever seen Chad do. It was at Yellow Rose Nationals, and this was like 4 years ago or 5 years ago for the overall forms grand. And it's him versus Gandhi, Daryl Lewis. Both
Now,
guys.
the Yellow Rose,
go
that's in
insane.
San Antonio, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we're talking about two guys that legit like could touch the ceiling doing their backflip, right? It's insane. So
That's
he
awesome.
goes against Daryl and does a jump split kick as high as he can. And before he lands, he does a side kick with the other one, right? So he goes boom, pop, right? Insane.
What?
Yeah. It's insane. And sometimes I see him do four kicks. Like he would go boom, boom, boom.
I've done the quad.
I've done the
what you're
three where you
talking
do a
about is
split
a
kick
little
front,
different.
right?
I've done
Remember
the
split front.
round side. And obviously I saw that because I saw John Blair do it. And I'm like,
oh, but you're talking about a scissor kick. You're talking about scissor.
But I didn't do it like that. I wasn't as good to be able to do the scissor. I would have to do it that same way. I would jump up, do the double front, do the round kick across, and then the side kick.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. But what I'm saying, he would do four, boom, boom. So he used both sides on that, right?
Yeah,
that's
but
the
a little
side,
bit crazy.
The split. I mean, he just some crazy stuff.
What I like about that is that's so creative. It's not the same. It's not the same old.
No, exactly. And he used to do some cool stuff. You need to look up some of the things. I think when he competed at NASCAR tournaments, he kind of held back, and he should have gone. He should have gone more. I just do. Just watching him compared to where he felt more at home. I think in his element when growing up in the NBL circuit and stuff.
Makes sense.
So, but one of the cool things right now, if you don't know, him and Carmichael Simon have a school together in Texas.
I did not know that.
So, and they're doing a lot of cool things. I like the way that they present stuff and do everything. They have real cool concepts with how they run their school. Right now they're doing something called Censure Sports, which is the point fighting, but with the gear. I think we talked about this. The gear that registers the points. So they're really focusing on doing that. I think it's cool that they're trying something new, and that it's also two guys that have a lot of background and experience, and are great teachers and want to move forward. So my competitor of the week is Chad Cannon. Awesome guy, great fighter. He's had his ups and downs with different things, but great guy. So
yeah, Chad is a good guy. My competitor of the week is Dwan Brown. Brown.
Another great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He is Chicago. This guy he is Chicago. So I'm not as much like I'm suburb. No, he's Chicago. So he is great. I mentioned this before that like I would compare like point fighters to like a top NBA player.
Right.
Duane Brown translates to Derrick Rose. Also because of the injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's unfair. Man. It's so unfair, but it happened to him often. And
the worst was at Diamonds. Oh my God.
Well, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
It wasn't the worst.
Well, what I'm saying the worst because he was like gonna win.
Right.
He was destroying him, and I was like,
oh
my God.
Yeah. He lost. So
he was
it was the heavyweight super fight. Yeah. It was a heavyweight super fight. It was 2013.
Yep.
The year before, he loses first round to Troy Sexton.
Yeah.
All right. That year, he fights Troy Sexton first round, beats Troy Sexton. All right. No, I actually take that. No, he beat me. Then he beat Troy Sexton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, but he and I have had battles with each other. We've gone back and forth, and he's really, really good.
Yeah.
So that year, he's beating Trevor. He's beating Trevor by 2, and you got to win by 2.
Yeah.
Trevor gets him back into the corner, and he was fighting a great fight. He's back into the corner, gets hit. Okay. Now he's only up 1. They got to keep going. It felt like it was the very next clash. Trevor comes back, punches Trevor, and snaps the inside of his forearm on the punch.
Oh, my God.
He buckles as he's going down. Trevor hits him, and he goes down. Now he can't continue. Trevor, congratulations, you're the winner. And Trevor is just standing over here like, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I felt so bad.
It was bad.
After that, he went to Italy for the WKC World Championships. Couldn't do anything.
Yeah. That's right.
That was such a sucky thing.
Yeah.
So he had a really sour taste, and he had some injuries before that. He had tore his Achilles a couple years before that. I was constantly reaching out to him. Hey, man, let's do some training.
Yeah.
Let's do some training. Let's get together. Man, you got to do this tournament with us. So 2015, Irish Open's coming around. I said, hey, Ross and I want to fight with you. Come fight with us. So 2 weeks prior to the tournament, we talk him into it. He buys a ticket to Ireland 2 weeks before. Okay, we go. Boom, all set up. We're having a blast. They change it from wins to points.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had an amazing comeback against best fighter from Italy, where we were down like 18 in the first round.
Wow.
And we came back to lose by 2.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it was something. So now the very next day, Duane's fighting, 8 a.m. division, first round. Right? 10-point spread, you win. Okay. He's up 13-5. And he turns around, he looks at me, and I say, hey, if you want to, you can end this right now. You can spread it out, do whatever you want, but you got this. He takes one step, snaps his Achilles.
Oh, my God.
Snaps his Achilles, and he's just laying there. I didn't hear it. I said, hey, you can end this right now if you want to. It's up to you. Turns around, and he's just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And I literally looked at him like, dude, what are you doing? And he turns to me, and he says, it's gone. It's gone. Ruptured my Achilles. It's gone. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, my God.
The rest of the weekend, we had to find a wheelchair for him.
God.
Just think about that. And you gotta wait till you get all the way. You gotta wait till you get back home to have it repaired.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
So that's like my big fear. Like one of my worst fears is rupturing my Achilles. So my mom
he did the other one.
Oh,
so he
man.
ruptures one. Years later, he ruptures the other. So here's where this goes. Just Duane is good. He says, man, people talk trash about me often. They say, oh man, this dude can't kick. This dude can't kick, and he's deceptively tall.
Oh,
and long.
yeah.
He
is.
fights in so many different ranges, right?
Right.
So he'll fight you and shrink his body and then extend it as he's fighting you. It's very, very deceptive. And he's quick and he's athletic and he's super smooth and he can fight any different type of way.
Right.
So karate's going to go into the Olympics. Dewan says, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's go try out. Dude makes the U.S. national team.
Yeah.
He made the team.
Right.
He's never even tried it. So I reached out to him all the time, like, how the heck did you do this? What are you doing? He says, I don't even want to work on their style. I want to work on what gives me an edge while understanding their style. I want to try to see what we can do to make ourselves different. Yeah, can't believe it. He has a tournament called the Windy City Challenge. It's been on break for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. Detroit comes each year. He's got it too. Avery's won it. Chris Gorham's won it.
We've talked a lot about it. We sat down and were able to talk a lot at Super Grands this past year. And that was kind of
how about entering Super Grands and making it to the final as a wild card?
Yeah, and he's done that several times too.
Several times.
One time he this was, I think, one of the last years that Proper went. I think it was 2013 or 14, and he went and he had like 13 fights, and lost to Leon twice. So then he did the same thing in continuous as a wild card. In continuous, and fought like 7 times or something.
And he trains in secret. Hard. He trains in secret, or he doesn't, and he just comes out.
And he's just one that I've known since we were kids, because we're, I think, almost the exact same age. So I mean, he was one of those, and he's part of that group of like the old school TAC team that was like the Tanksons team that was
TAC.
Awesome. That was awesome, man.
TAC, they the year Kumite Classic did the $5,000 for the
That's
winner.
Right.
$3,000 for the runner-up.
That was so
TAC,
cool to see.
They took second place in that.
Yeah, that was so awesome. A school team, man.
Yeah, and it was Jason, Dewan, Larry.
Yeah. And they had one of their other guys, and I can't remember his name.
Was it Rob Jackson? Might have been Rob Jackson.
Yeah, might have been.
TAC's got some good guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See, when I was a junior, they had the best continuous team there was. They won like 4 continuous titles in 2001, I think. Leroyce, not sure it was there, and then some of the other ones. And Leroyce was, again, one of the best continuous fighters I've ever seen. So,
and Larry Tankston, he's the head of that. He's just a rock solid, really good guy.
Oh, and yeah,
awesome. I enjoy my conversations and my time with him every time I talk to him.
Yeah,
he's just a great guy. Oh yeah, I love his schools and his guys. He has a great culture of martial arts.
So are we going to be able to see like Dewan like what in the Olympics, or like is he going to the World Championships? What's going on?
I know that he's done.
He did the nationals, right? He did the nationals, right?
He made the national team.
Okay.
But in order to keep it, you had to do a few other events. You had to do a few other events.
Yeah.
And he did those.
Yeah.
And as far as I can keep up with it, he's still on the team.
Okay.
And he had to go to Colorado Springs and go to the training center.
Yeah.
And there's just certain things you got to keep up with.
But I think like the actual team isn't decided till next year, right? I think that goes to the Olympics. Yeah, because Ariel.
And I think they only gave him
Ariel Torres is still like not officially on the team, but he's the top U.S. competitor.
Correct.
Right now.
So. Yeah, because it's not solidified yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So cool.
Then. Let's see here. So I heard he might make an appearance at WKC this year in Niagara Falls. Yeah, and look, just like it would be Dewan,
Yeah.
to just kind of sneak in. And I don't know if he's going to go. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
He might just go, and then there he is. He's the overall world champ. He's the champion of champions. That would just be him, you know?
It's pretty cool.
And here's a weird thing. There's a weird step between Dwan and I. Dwan has kicked me in the head more times than I've kicked him in the head.
I like it.
No, I don't.
Of course you don't, but I do.
No,
it's okay.
Because he's so deceptive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's awesome. All right,
Love
you ready?
Man. Yeah.
Should it stay or should it go?
Let's get into this because last time we had should it stay or should it go, we blew up the world. I don't know if that'll happen this time or not, but let's get into it. So there's been some, and this is real. Like it can go both ways. Some people love it, some people don't. The split between the lightweight grand and the heavyweight grand, like having a lightweight overall and having a heavyweight overall. What are your thoughts on that? Should it stay or should it go?
So I'm so torn on it because part of it is good for the competitor, for more people to get money and get paid and all that, and to highlight the lightweights as lightweights and how good they are, which I like that. And same thing with the heavyweights. But it's still, man, our sport just traditionally has always been not always, because you and I always like go back at Travis and Chris for not recognizing that in the 90s there was 3 grands and there was not overall grands in most tournaments, right?
Well, but there was a few tournaments
that had
a champion.
And didn't you love those events? Yes, we did, because it was cool. And I think that there needs to be that. I still think you can highlight those as that, you know what I mean? I think the problem is right now is that we don't do an overall because we have open weight. And that's why. I think that's why they do it. So you highlight the lightweight, you highlight the heavyweight, and then you do the open weight. And that is not your overall grand, but like they're 3 different things. And I think that's the mindset of it. The problem is that the open weight, there's no regulations on it.
Which is okay if that's its thing.
Yeah, but time out. All right, I'm sure this changed this last year, but 2 years ago, DC Capital Classics didn't give any money for open weight, and no one knew that.
Okay, so I see what you're talking about with that.
All right, so there's no regulations on that. So if you're going to highlight this thing as a big deal, then it needs to just make it a big deal and make it like put some regulation that this is the minimum. And I think
here's the thing with that.
Sometimes they don't do that either. But
with the minimum, if you put a minimum, do you know what you really just did? You just described the maximum.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because most of them,
whatever you say the minimum
I have to do, yeah, exactly.
That's the maximum.
Oh, I know,
right?
Because we dealt with that with NBL, with women's fighting, because this is the minimum you have to give, and it was way less than the other, and I always gave a lot more. But. So,
which kudos to you. You should, or someone should. So let's look at this. So we talked about the tournaments that, all right, they have a overall of overalls. What they at times would do is they would have a separate award that they would give: Warrior Cup, Diamond Ring, Gold Watch, Rolex. Cool.
Yeah, right.
Okay, they would have an award. All right.
Rolex was different, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a different thing.
Yeah, but Charlie
had a great reason why he did it that way. It wasn't just for that type of division.
Yeah.
He said, you can't split a watch.
Right.
Here it is.
So true. Yeah,
you can't split the Warrior Cup.
Yeah.
You can't split the Diamond Ring.
The Diamond Ring. That's true.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Or like even Muhammad Jahanbash, he has
the gold medallion. Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Medallion. Yeah.
Right? It's cool. Yeah. Have a separate award. So I think the light and heavyweight, go ahead, have your overall. Now have your heavyweight, have your lightweight. Now let's have our champion. Right?
I like that.
Because there's not a champion yet.
No, I love that. And I just feel like it hinders us from really knowing who the best is. And I think one of those each tournament doesn't get the recognition that they should.
When
Do
it
you know what I'm
first
saying?
started, yeah,
I mean, because
absolutely.
it's just
When
it's the way it is.
when I first knew, all right, this is going to be horrible, was the first year the Diamonds split. So, which was
See, that
in
makes no
2015.
sense to me.
Doesn't. So, the year prior in 2014 was one of the better final matches that there had been in a long, long time. And
Yes.
it was Raymond versus Jack. And they
That
went
was
into overtime.
awesome. Overtime.
It was an amazing fight.
Yeah.
And if people
it was
don't
awesome.
recognize it, like, oh yeah, Raymond won. No, it wasn't like that. Jack was in control of that
the
fight.
whole time.
And if you watch it again, you may even say Jack should have
won.
Yeah, you might say that.
But
you
that
might
was,
even say he should have won before overtime. I'm not sure. But I
Yeah.
mean, Raymond is Raymond. It wasn't like he
No.
didn't deserve to win. It's like it was that
Mm.
great of a match.
Right.
So when Roman Brundle wins the heavyweight diamond, when Justin Ortiz wins the lightweight diamond, I don't know who would have won. If you would have fought them off, I don't know who would have won.
Right.
But I want to know. You know, because we're not going to get that fight. It's over. It'll never happen. You know.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going. Like, all right, last year, Ross Levine, James Poore. Because Ross Levine came out of nowhere. I thought Avery Plowman was going to win.
Yeah.
Right. Ross Levine with an amazing high hook kick, scores 2, goes up, wins, bang. All right.
Well, even James came back. Like Jack was beating him by like 7 points or something.
It was like 7 or 8 points in the first round, and James Poore just hung back. And now that was amazing to see. At the same time, you got to just facepalm a little bit. Go, Jack. It feels so bad because
he's never won the diamond ring. He's
never won the diamond.
He won the super fight, I think, once, the lightweight super fight once or twice. But
he won it twice over Hamid too, which was man, that's something. You know,
he's never won the diamond, and all the time it was so like close. And
in 2014, there was the one that we talked about with Ray. Coulda, shoulda won that. He's in the final fight. And then
the year before, the year before, did he lose to Justin?
No, we're talking no, because the year before it was Trevor and Zolt.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
But the 2 following years, it was he lost to Kevin.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Kevin. People may forget Kevin Walker has 2 diamond rings.
Yep.
2 diamond rings. That's something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So having a separate grand championship is important for fighting, and I think it was glaring to us at the time when it came down to the final fight. It was like a 2.5 year, 3 year stretch where it was Hamid Feruzzi and Ross Levine in the final, and Hamid only beat him once.
Yeah,
and that's where there's a lot of talk about having a split.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because Hamid left with $200.
That's
every single time. You know what I mean?
See, I think that's I get what
but it's not like, and they're the same team.
Yeah.
Oh, they were gunning for it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I talked to him. I mean, guy's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
He and I talked today.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, they definitely should have a separate championship, but fight for the overall. There should be a champion.
So we both say it should go, right? Well,
no.
No,
Did you see?
They need to have them.
Have it
there
separate.
Needs to be an overall still. So the idea overall should actually stay. Yeah,
correct.
Correct.
Now, what about this one? For the forms having a traditional, and the same thing for weapons, having a traditional grand championship and a CMX grand championship. Should it? Because they don't compete off; they just stay. Should it stay like that? And then they compete against each other? Should you do away with the CMX and traditional grand? What would Jeff Doss do?
And again, I'm going to sound real biased, but I like the way that it's done in the NBL because the traditional grand is an actual traditional grand. So you have like the Korean, the Japanese, the traditional weapons, the this and that. So it's all one. There's only one or two traditional weapons divisions, so it's not like. And honestly, a traditional form and a traditional weapon aren't that far off. People can say it isn't, but you're not doing manipulations and tricks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Well, there's no
solid.
regulation in NASCA
Right.
as far
Yes.
as what you're doing with traditional.
It still is like you can't release it and stuff, right?
You can't release it, but
right,
you could go out there and do a creative bow form.
which they do. But
Yep.
what I'm saying is that it still, to some extent, shows the martial arts part. You know, so I think that's okay. And then do a open hand grand and then a weapons grand. You have three. Like a creative weapons grand. I think that way you kind of split it up, mix it up a little bit, but then you get into the whole male, female, and everything else, and then you got 6 grands. It's just crazy.
It's
It's just too
this
much.
I think it's totally unfair. I think it's totally unfair. I think we need to do away with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You do it like that. Okay, so already it's all about the forms for on the NASCA end. On the NASCA
Right,
end,
right. No,
right?
yeah.
It's just about when you go to a finals, there's going to be 12 minutes of fighting.
Right.
Total. And 3.5 hours of form.
Yeah.
It's just reality.
No, I agree.
We're going to listen to techno music. We're going to see people upside down. And there you go. That's it.
Right.
All right. It's been the same thing for the last 20 years.
We're going to hear 2 a bunch of times.
No, you'll hear it for 12 minutes.
Well, maximum. In that 12 minutes, you'll hear it 40 times. So there you
go. No, it all depends of Kodak.
400 in Damon.
No, Damon just bum rushes the ring. Everybody's got their thing.
Oh my God.
But anyway. So, okay, so who is the men's form champion? There's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
I say we should do away with the CMX, do away with the traditional, and just get back to the runoff.
Right.
Just take 5 people to the finals, be done with it. One forms division, just done. Yeah. Whether it's men, it's women, it's juniors. Yeah. Just be done with it. You know?
I mean, as much as like I like the traditional to be judged traditionally and the open to be judged openly. You know, like the open style. But
can a traditional form beat the CMX?
Nowadays, I think it can. Before, it had a hard time doing it. But that was why.
John Su didn't have a hard time.
Yes, he did. If he didn't add the front kick stuff and the split stuff, he had to add that extra stuff into it.
When didn't he do that?
No, he did that. He didn't have to. Well, all right. When he could beat an NBL, he didn't do that. And he won and he beat like Keith Weston, which is pretty legit, right?
Yep.
And Matt Bowles. And he didn't have to do that. During his division, he wouldn't do that. There was only one tournament that he did that, and that was when me and Chris were giving him a run for his money, and he decided to add that in. And both of us looked at each other. It was like, all right, we're doing something. Because he wouldn't do that during the day. So, I'm just saying that. But
if you get to it and just say, okay, there's your Japanese forms winner, there's your Korean forms winner, there's your creative, there's your musical, there's your extreme.
And you just go after, yeah.
And then you have all of them, you have your runoff, you take your 3, 4, or 5 to the finals. However many you're taking to the finals, you're done with it. Although it should be set for however many, for who's going to the finals. You can't say, oh, well, we're only taking 2 people to the finals. That's not fair. Right?
No.
Unless that's the way everybody does it for the whole year.
Right. So I think doing 2 traditional and 2 open against each other, and that way it's 4, is pretty good. You have a separate grand that you have to run during the day.
But that's not fair either.
But that's not, because then one of them's a loser. So.
But that's not fair either, because let's say you're taking 2 traditionals and 2 CMX.
Yeah.
But there could be. So when you say 2 traditionals, you're talking like a Korean and a Japanese.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
No, I mean whoever won.
Well, what other divisions are there?
Kempo and Chinese technically is
Okay.
a traditional. Now see that's a whole nother thing.
There you go.
But that's
So then
because
you just get
NASCA.
rid of it. Because when you
because
say
that's a
traditional in
thing.
NASCA, you're really only ultimately, you're really just talking about Japanese.
Well, yeah, the way the judges
And so it's not fair. So
No,
pretty much
no.
whoever wins that division, you might as well just end it. Just give them
Right,
the
right,
overall right there. So that's not fair.
right, correct. And that's the issue I have, and that's why I don't like that part. That's why I think traditional, honestly, should be male, female combined, and all of them
Why?
against each other. Just because I've seen females have way better forms than males, and I think it's pretty consistent. All right, the reason why.
But we don't combine them for anything else. Why would we combine them for that?
Right, but the idea of, okay, you could say they're stronger, the males are,
Well,
but the
I
females
don't
are
mean about
more.
an advantage one way or the other. But if we don't combine them for
They're
anything
definitely
else, why would we do
right.
that for that?
Correct, but we combine them, and other tournaments they combine them. That's all.
Well,
I'm
other
saying.
tournaments are wrong.
Well, okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that like most people, it's forms grand, weapons grand, or
Yeah.
traditional grand, open grand. Those two, it's all up. Then you can go the whole females don't win enough or this or that. But if you have a fairly judged one, it is.
What's your thought about?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that was one of the arguments that parents had with in NBL. We would always separate more on style and not gender. So you'd have the Korean, you'd have the Japanese, this and that. And they'd say, oh, it's not fair to the girls. But then at the end of the year, every year, let's see, there was 9 traditional forms divisions. 6 of the divisions were won by females. So, and it happened every year. So
but it's not. It's the perception.
Right. People just think,
So why not just separate and just be rid of that perception?
Correct, but then you just keep separating more and more and more, and then people show up and win a title without any competition, or 3 people in one and 20 in the other.
You could have nobody show up to a CMX division, and somebody's going to win it, right? You certainly wouldn't get rid of or combine, the musical division. You wouldn't do that.
You already said you didn't. No, you already said you didn't want to do that. You want to just open. So those 3 divisions,
I do that.
Just make it one anyway. So, or just make a musical and a non-musical, right? So you already said that.
Well, that's true. If I was I would be done with creative and extreme. It'd be open. And then musical.
We don't even want to talk about weapons. Good God.
Why?
Traditional bladed is the dumbest division ever.
Well, why do you think it's
people don't do it?
Why do you think
people don't do it?
Well, it didn't exist at one point.
Right. It was for never mind.
Yes, it's for a certain.
It's another
person that's no longer around.
Yeah, it's another Paul Mitchell thing. So
it was because of a certain person that's no longer around who was very good at sword form.
Right.
Right, and there was a way to have that type of division.
Right.
And so yeah, exactly. So where are you sitting on this then? The CMX and the traditional. Where do you sit? Seat to the fire. What do you say?
I'd say do away with it. Yeah, I think just overall forms, overall weapons.
I think we need to add more. I think we need to add a grand championship for people who wear a blue uniform. I think we need to have a grand championship for people who have 6 fingers on their right hand.
All right,
No, obviously, I think we should have less. I think we should do away with all of it.
Yeah.
All right.
What's so grand about the grand champion anymore? You know what I mean? That was something I said. I just think, especially when I'm watching at Diamonds, and then now there are grand championships happening with one person for juniors now. It's that bad. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, but this is the fairest way. Okay,
but what's so unfair that because they get one person
who
wins
At all.
the
Yeah.
division because you allow that to happen.
Right.
Now, when they go to the finals,
Yeah.
there's only one person. That's why I thought the whole movement of the creative and the extreme was not a way to make it fair for those who don't do the tricks. It was a way to get them out of there. The people, if you're either doing all the tricks or you don't even exist in this tournament.
Right. Right. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, we can get into the rules of each of those divisions that I don't like, and which I think actually limit those people from winning overalls. Because I don't like the idea of the creative rules anyway. So, but, and a lot of and again, just like what we said with the Korean thing, I don't like the Korean rules. I don't think there's just a lot of stuff that is not set for certain people to win.
Well, what don't you like about the Korean rules?
Well, how are you going to really push that why is there a classical division for Japanese and not for Korean?
You mean like the traditional challenge?
Right. It's not called Japanese challenge or Okinawan challenge. It's called traditional challenge, but you can only do Japanese Okinawan forms in it. That makes no sense whatsoever.
What's your feeling about that division?
That should, all right. Just if you would just actually put some rules in your regular division, you didn't need a separate division. Just make Japanese have more rules. Just make Korean have more rules. If you want it a certain way, then make it a certain way. Again, like WKC does, like NASCA does, like the other leagues do, you know?
So I'm sorry,
not like NASCA does, like NBL does. Sorry. Like
right.
NBL, WKC do. And
so
WKU
you are right on. You are right on. So Jerry Fontenez gave me some really wise advice. He predicted that this was going to happen, like Nostradamus. If you can believe that. And he said it at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as and this is at the height of the super fights, and everybody loves the super fights. And he says, it's the dumbest division ever, which as it came to be fruition, it was the dumbest. And he says, all you need to do is just, if you want fighting that way, judge it that way, and take all this extra money that you're trying to throw at the super fight, just throw it at the overall,
right?
And everybody will enter. And if you want fighting to look that way, judge that way,
right?
Only
same thing.
He said it with a really interesting Jersey accent, and made me want to buy a rec suit
Jersey
immediately
accent.
after.
You mean New York accent?
Isn't he from Jersey?
No.
He's not? I don't know, man.
No.
Anyways,
I'm not going to get into that. You know, people don't like. Don't be calling New York people Jersey, man.
What? That's what? Bro, that's why I said it. Sorry, Jerry. All right, you're a New Yorker. I have been corrected. Okay.
Oh man.
All right, this has been a fun time.
Yeah, this has been. I will make sure. We'll make sure we have more stories next one. But this was a fun one.
Yeah, but it was good to recap, and really kind of touch back up on the one judge rule, so that everybody agrees with me and understands that the one judge rule.
Did you read the comments? I didn't get people saying I'm crazy. So a lot of people
They don't need to.
Me.
I'll say.
Oh, okay. People like me too much. They don't want to let me down. Right? Is that what it is?
That's entirely possible. All right, shout out.
Awesome, man.
Jeff's brother. Hey, what's your brother's name?
Cord. C-O-R-D. Yep.
Happy birthday, Cord.
Yeah,
Happy
man.
birthday, Obeda.
Yeah, man.
And then Kirby and Tori, congratulations on the new babies coming.
Anything coming up soon? Let's see. We got the end of September.
Well, actually, isn't next week? Is next week Pan Am?
Is it? I knew it moved up. Is it the first week of October?
It's either next week or the week after, because it switched with when the Diamonds would be.
Right.
So if it's not next week, it's the week after.
Right.
And I really always thought, and then on CTE, Chris and Travis talked about them moving to September. At one point, Pan Am's was in September.
Yeah, it was.
I went there when it was in September. I was digging
Yeah.
Miami Beach then. It was nice.
Again, remember, that's one of the only tournaments I've never been.
Yeah, you should go. Yeah,
I
it's
know. Yeah,
October
October
11th.
11th. Yeah.
October 11th. It's Pan
So
Am's.
they flipped. So they flipped with diamonds. Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, Diamonds is the first and second, which is so WKC. You have to show up to weigh in on Saturday or Sunday. Sunday is the deadline where you got to weigh in, and that's November 3rd. So it is feasible. You could go to the Diamonds and go to WKC, but there'll probably only be like a handful of people that try to pull that off.
Right. Have you done? You've done WKC, right?
I've done WKC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk some of that next week about our experiences doing the W's. You know what I mean? That'll be fun.
Why don't everybody take a guess who's had more experience?
You?
You.
Nope.
How many world championships have you been to?
Like
one? For real? Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, man. The W, that's it, man. The WKA.
That's a
I know.
trivia question right there. If you'd have told people like, hey,
yeah,
how many world championships has Jeff Doss competed in?
Right.
I'm pretty sure they would say between 8 and 11.
Nope, not over in Europe. No, I've done a lot of stuff. Mexico, this and that. U.S. Open, Super Grands, all that. But
how about this? Before we leave, what's the tournament that you've not been doing? We might have touched on this before, that you really want to go to, because there's been some that you haven't gone to, and it's like, oh yeah, I haven't gone to that one. What's the one that you've never been to that you really want to go to?
Irish Open,
Irish Open,
Irish Open.
We did talk about that before.
Yeah, we did. Right. We did. Oh, another one though, Austrian Classic. I've been to Austria.
I want to do that,
but I want to do that tournament. It just seems cool to me. So
I want to do that because if I do that, I want Roman to kind of show me around Austria a bit too.
Yeah. How about you?
It would be Austrian Classic.
Yeah.
Austrian Classic, I really want to do. I want to do either the Austrian Classic or the Grand Slam.
All right. Yeah.
You like that? You see what I did there? You see what I did?
That. And see, that was something that I did. I always made sure, you can't split a belt buckle. All right.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. We had a blast, guys, and see you next week.
See you next week.